Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, with Cyril's greatest stunt double in the blue, the Rocky Zerg. It's Solar, facing off against the best defensive Protoss out there. In the red, D-Mawa, the Wall, Showtime. A best-of-3 Protoss versus Zerg showdown. And I expect such incredible defense out of the players in this series. I'd like to balance it out with a bit of aggressively asking you to smash that like button. And maybe even subscribe. Help me counter the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? 1,596 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As Solar already off on the awkward foot of taking his third base early on. But for many, many moons, it has been accepted that as a Zerg player, you either take their natural or your third, as that pesky probe can get across the map on probably about 3/4 of the maps in the pool before you could even build a hatchery. You'd pretty much have to build nothing. Take a 12 hatch, the economic hit, just to be able to get that hatchery on time. It's not worth it, very simply. So probes, well known to be able to block your hatchery, kind of throw your build out of whack, and raise your blood pressure, which you probably should get checked out, because I know my demographic. Showtime with a bit of an odd wall here on Sandworm, which has become one of our more accepted community maps from the Team Liquid map contest. It does have a distinct look of sand. Haven't seen any worms yet, but maybe I'm not looking closely enough. But some people don't like the tile set. They find it coarse, they find it irritating. But people who are pedantic like that, I also find coarse and irritating, so... Adept shade in, Adept shade out. You can't explain that. The queens will have a distaste for their presence, but not able to chase them down for now. Energy recharge slapped into the Oracle. And with that extra 100 energy, well, the Oracle can wear even more hats. The Oracle was already collecting pretty much all the hats the Protoss had. Scouting, early damage, and defense. And now it is just more of the same thing. With 100 extra energy, one Oracle could do the job of, like, 2 Oracles. Which is still more Oracles than before. As a trade-out for shield battery overcharge, energy recharge allows active players with those early Oracles, or other units, but let's be honest here, to do a lot more with a lot less. And it kind of pigeonholes the Zerg, who, well, with queens costing a little bit more and having effectively no anti-air besides them, there's not really many options besides sit there and get poked and prodded and maybe occasionally punched in the face, which Solar is no stranger to. So the Oracle's poking on either side. We got the Twilight and Forge behind. Your standard fare is a follow-up. Stasis Ward was attempted in the main, but a single drone hanging out. We'll bite the bullet and take the mandated work break. Oh no. Another Solar. So. Well, this is a bit more of a kerfuffle here, as the drones and Queen all caught. The ringleader there, making sure that everybody asleep on the job, and now they'll be in stasis for quite a while. And is he going to... Well, that close. So, when you're in stasis, you're invulnerable to all abilities, including stasis. So Showtime was trying to time it out so perfectly that the units would essentially be chained into stasis. But if he does it too early, it does nothing. If he does it too late, it's effectively nothing. So that's the end result. Counterattack attempted, but Showtime has already jammed himself into his little supply closet here between the pylon and the shield battery. Another stasis will catch a few drones at the natural. You can see the stasis heartbeat interrupting. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's the Dow jump. Well, Showtime getting the income lead to start things off, but he did go for 3 Oracles, which does set back the Twilight, the Forge, the Blink. Though, at this point, I think it paid off, and he still has all 3 Oracles intact, much to the dismay of the Queens. 3 more drones dead, 66 to 65 workers. and Solar has not been mining with the regularity that he might expect. So he has an infestation pit already on the way, taking the gold base, try to take down the minerals, or the rocks between the base and the minerals, which are kind of a compromise between outright blocking the base and not having any sort of delay at all. But the gold base on this map is wildly exposed. You can either get attacked from the high ground, easily have that mineral line under fire, or, of course, a direct attack down the center, with the choke point and the sand spires making things very difficult. But Solar has 69 drones, which is a nice baseline economy to start that Hydralist production. But there's already Stalkers on his side of the map. Blink is done. +1 is a few seconds out. He's got Oracles above and Stasis Wards on the ground. So a lot of coverage for this first push. And while Solar would love to hold on to the 4th base, it's not a very tight grip right now. The Queen's holding the line. Zerglings trying to counterattack or come around for a flank, but the Stasis boxes him out. One of the Queens transfused, double-teamed. A lot of extra love there from the Queens. Hive is already on the way behind, but there is no Lurker Den. A counterattack may be attempted, but so far, Solar holding on, but Showtime is rallying the Blink Stalkers across the map. He's got 8 gates, he's got plenty of economy, and right now, I think he has the army supply to move forward. The Zerglings potentially denying the 4th base, but Showtime just takes the base to the 6 o'clock position. Zergling counterattack going to be attempted. Pylon, a bit of a vulnerable point. Another stasis is triggered. Catches a roach and a couple bangs. So far, nothing too untoward. Psionic Storm is already on the way, though. Charge just now completing. Hive is about to complete for Solar, but the Lurker Den is a little further behind. About 80-90% of the time you go Hydras. The reason to go Hive is for those Lurkers. Occasionally, if your opponent's going for, like, Colossi, you might want Vipers as a high priority, and Vipers are great. But Lurkers against this Blink Stalker composition are even better. Showtime already knows where we're going, though. A fleet beacon is on the way. Is he intentionally putting... He knows the Overseer is there. Let the boy watch. That Solar's like 35 years old, okay? Like, let him watch. I guess it is a safe location, but it's going to be very clear to Solar that a fleet beacon is on the way, literally under the weird nose of his Overseer. So now he knows that it's time... This is the best timing he's going to get. Yes, Storm might be done, but he's going to have Hydras, Lurkers, and Langs, and now there's a 25 supply lead. He's working off a gold base. A huge income advantage for Solar, at least for the moment. He's got 15 more workers. The Lurker range is closing in, but it's good to get in position and kind of try to force the storms out as quickly as possible. Solar also getting a Spire behind this, not going to be tied to the ground army, as it's pretty clear that Dimawa is holding the high ground, and stopping the wall there is going to be incredibly difficult. Already Tempest in production, not going straight for the carriers or even the Mothership. The Tempest, a surgical, about as surgical as a long-range artillery unit can be. A surgical strike against the Lurkers. I believe it's 4 Tempest with +1 air weapons that one-shot Lurkers. Might be 5. Either way, the Lurkers can't shoot back, so eventually it'll handle it. But, of course, Corruptors can. Showtime under attack. As we pass the 10-minute mark, the economies are high and the tension is as well. And honestly, at this point, if Solar's able to crack one of these bases, that could easily spiral out of control and give him the game. But Showtime has quite an army set up, and he's also maxed out. +2 ground weapons, and Solar, it looks like the one with the mediocre concave here, and here comes Showtime, slaps down the Revelation Storm across the Hydralist. The charge lots charge into the fray, and many of them will be cut down, but acceptable losses as Showtime clears the field. Every single Lurker was removed, besides the one that Solar removed himself, but overall, a decisive victory for Showtime. He traded 26 Zealots and 9 Stalkers and lost 1 Oracle. For 9 Lurkers, 11 Hydras, he removed that tech advantage from his base, and now it's going to be on Solar to deal with the Tempest, to deal with the Templar. Anything but temporary. And striking back across the field, there certainly isn't much of a rush distance here. Barely a screen away. Tempest lunges forward with the Hydras. Attempts the old Yeetus Deletus maneuver, but it doesn't work out as the Hydras are not nearly close enough to get... Whoa, the storms washing across the front line. And a lot of damage being dealt, but Corruptors are on the field. +1 flyer attack for both sides at similar times. Roach Hydra Counter, a small group of units that could do a lot of damage if left unchecked, but Showtime warps in some Zealots to defend. The Concave working against Showtime at this point. The Storms, the Templar getting caught. More Storms on the Corruptors, but they'll go right overhead. Now Autumn colors across the board. Hydras obliterated by the Archons. Solar's counterattack was shut down, but Showtime was pushed back to his bases. He's got 4 of them, but Solar expanded outwards. A true Zerg. He's got bases 5, and now 6 coming online. 79 to 77 workers. Still no decisive advantage. The fact that Solar's been mining from the gold is a huge deal. But at the same time, Showtime has showed us that time is not necessarily of the essence. But instead, building the right unit composition is the priority. And only now getting the Mothership. It's a clear choice to go for the Tempest and then the Mothership. I think the Mothership here used as a tactical option, not just as this big target to throw in front of everything. Don't quote me on that. Consider in 2 minutes when he throws it away to Corruptors. But the Mothership as a secondary recall, I think, is significantly better than just using it as a big hot air balloon slash something to draw fire. Time Warp is good, but being able to teleport your entire army across the map is arguably better. But here comes Solar trying to dive on the 6 o'clock base. A Congress of Corruptors on top of the Tempest, and the Templar laying down withering storms, but the Tempest will be taken out of the field. The Corruptor count is so damn high, and the Lurkers underneath are going to run the table with the ground army for now. Uncontested Corruptors in the main could just start spraying on everything. And that's just... oh my, there's a Mothership. You know, is it better if the Mothership finishes or not? He cancels it either way. Make sure it doesn't. And now Stalker's warped in underneath. Solar only now getting the Greater Spire. He has the +1 air weapons. He can't just translate this directly into Broodlords. And now this is the most awkward part of Zerg in this scenario. You have all these Corruptors, slightly less now that he just ran through a bunch of cannons, but you have all these Corruptors, but now you're dealing with this brute force behemoth of a ground army. There's 9 Immortals, 5 Archons, a whole bunch of charge lots, and plenty of Templar with energy. The CIA build charge lot Immortal Archon is always good. An Adian Psionic Storm is not going to make it any worse. Showtime so far has shown... oh my god. An incredible patience, but not timidness in dealing with this very difficult to dislodge Zerg unit composition. And now we've got kind of the alternative, the B plot over here. Blink Stalkers against Hydra Ling. We're just... that's a throwback, okay? A recall back, if you would. To earlier in the game, using those cheaper units in order to fight out. Meanwhile, Oracle's getting taken down, but the Corruptors easily melted by the overwhelming power of the Archons. Gotta be careful not to stick around too long. Greater Spire is completed. Broodlords are potentially on the agenda, but Showtime is still stressing the multitasking. I believe the Mothership is completed. Barely dodges the Corruptors that were looking to intercept it. Hydra's on the high ground, but there are Templar with Storm, and Showtime has partitioned enough of his army. Solar's going to lose this base. And there's still access to recall. Multiple flavors. Not that Protoss would know about flavors, considering they have no mouths. Just obliterates Lurkers. Wait, did the Corruptors kill the Mothership? No. Wait, where is the Mothership? Over to the right flank. Archons underneath. Recall's out. Looks like a mass recall to the Mothership. Showtime will be losing some of the stragglers. I take it back. That was a Nexus recall. The animation looks similar. if not identical. I'm not actually sure if there's a difference. It's close enough that I don't know. Not that I'm the authority on anything, but besides liking and subscribing, of course. Lurkers. There are changelings in the army that I don't know if Showtime even intentionally killed, but are taken down. Time Warp to zone things out, but Solar has a lot of money in the bank, 2,500 apiece. Minerals and gas, scouting immortal, great job. Yep, that's a Zerg army. Meanwhile, those corruptors have kind of shoved everything out of the sky and have cleared the path for Solar. Another attack, but deja vu. We've just been in this place before, and you died horribly to Storm Solar. Maybe, yeah, he backs off. That is not the concave you're looking for. Solar still with a lot in the bank. 6 Broodlords in production. He needs something to start chewing away at that ground arm. And Lurkers aren't quite good enough. There's no more Tempest, but there are 11 Immortals. Which is nearly a GG if you don't have any Broodlords on the field. Yeets forward with the Hydralisk. We'll take out a few of the Immortals. The Corruptor is helping out against the Mothership. 7 Broodlords in production. The Mothership now losing shields halfway on its HP, and the Corruptor's Time Warp takes it down. Down it goes. And the Broodlords are dealing with the counterattack just in time, showing up on the field. Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. The Broodlords can defend against the Immortal Archon to the north, and the Hydra Lurker can move into the south. But Solar will lose the base at the high noon location. The Broodlords cleaning up the Archon. Showtime down to 155 supply. This base trade in the very literal sense. Each player trading a base. The 6 o'clock will be going down for Showtime, whereas Solar lost the north at 12 o'clock. And the Broodlord's like, you guys gotta go a little further than that. Losing motivation there for a moment, but the Lurkers are moving in, looking to get a hold of the third base. Showtime has rebuilt next side down the center and at the 9 o'clock. He's retreated with most of his probes before the Lurkers arrived, so will maintain a healthy enough probe count. There's not that many bases to work with. The Broodlords. No! Oh no! Out on their own, and the Stalkers warped in, doing what they do best. Bullying units that can't fight back very well. The Broodlords are popped out of the sky by a reinforcing wave of Blink Stalkers. The Immortals will absolutely exploderate another Nexus, or hatchery. But the Lurkers are going for a base trade. Storms will soften them up. Tempests are in production yet again. Solar maintains a supply lead, but Showtime is bashing his way through into the heart of the swarm as well. Charge Lots trying to cut through. Some of the Queens cut down. The bank is almost exhausted for both sides. Neither is maxed out. The Immortals. Oh no! Hydra's on a move command, and just like that, Solar supply is underwater. Gonna use Caustic Spray to take down 2 of the Robos. Immortals are at an absolute premium here. He does still have 6 of them. The Immortals will complete moments before the robotics facilities melt. There's still some Lurkers to work with. 27 drones died, but there's almost no mining left. The Lurkers are chewing their way through. Both players kind of carving through their opponent's bases. Solar more carving, whereas Showtime is just hammering. But again, the flank with the Storms. He's trying to take down the Observers, but Showtime micros his Observers well enough. He takes down the last Observer, but only 1 Lurker will survive. If he was able to take down the Observers just a little bit earlier. But on top of it, the Corruptors are spraying the Stargate. Wait, does he? He still has a Robo. He's building an Immortal. That other Robo survived. Takes out the Stargate, but he has 2 of them. The Lurker will dodge behind. The Storm will eventually deal with it. I mean, it's not the most efficient way, but it will get done eventually. 1 more Storm. And Solar's still up by 10 supply. What a hectic game. Robo is taken down. Wait, how many Observers? 0. That's not very many. He does have an Oracle. If he can revelate all of... Yes, he gets... I think he just got every Lurker. He's going to try to take advantage of it. This is it right here. He needs to crush this with the Immortals and the Templar and the Stalkers, and he absolutely does. Only a single Lurker remains. But that one Lurker is doing a lot of damage right now. That one Templar, the Zerglings go for it. The Oracle comes back around, and the Lurker's taken down. But the Corruptors are killing yet another base. He's trying to recall on top of it. It's melting. The Corruptors will take down the Nexus. The Stalkers will take down the Corruptors. Blinking in with the recall. Blinking under the Corruptors. And I think Showtime's done it. He had such a thin thread to actually deal with the Lurkers. He ran out of detection. If his revelation wasn't perfect, if his observers didn't survive, the Lurkers could have almost won by default. But now the Lurker's on their own. The Oracle has energy. There's still Templar with Storm. He's actually built a Phoenix. I don't know if that was intentional or if, you know, it has something to deal with the Overseers. The Storms, the Queens trying to get the damage done. And he's just pushing through. I think the Corruptors are on the Nexus yet again. Neither player has anything in the bank. But right now, Solar has no ground units. He's got 12 Hydras in production. He's got Spine Crawlers. He has Spine Crawlers. And Hydra's against just this army, honestly, with the Broodlings, he can wipe everything out of the sky. He moves for the drones, pulled off the line, the Immortals, but I think there's enough charge lots. Indeed there is. Showtime holds. D-Mawa. Bent but not broken. And the game ends with neither player really mining. Showtime had like 4 mineral patches. Solar had a base, but it was about to be obliterated. Well, that is exactly how I expected a match between these two to go. Both of them making very measured attacks. Pulling back, but not having quite enough to crush the army. Because they both left enough at home to defend. Because they're so good at it. Showtime ends up getting the better of him, but it could have gone either way. Like I said, if the observers go down like 3 seconds earlier, if the Oracle misses the revelation by 2 or 3 Lurkers instead of just 1, that game goes the other direction. One of the closest yet conclusive games I've seen in a while. Just ripping into one another. And really true to their styles as well. What a display. Game 2 will be on Frostline. One of those games where it feels like they both did everything right. I mean, there were some tough moments for both of them. Like Showtime committing the armies in kind of odd spots where he wasn't sure if he could win. And then Solar going up into a concave, but you really need... So the reason Solar committed in that first attack is the difficulty level gets cranked up to 11 once the fleet beacon finishes. Once the Tempests are out, the Mothership, the extra dimension that gives to Protoss, well, literally the air, makes things a lot more difficult. But at the same time recognizing that he was beat. A lot of Zerg players, probably too many, will just keep attacking. And sometimes it'll work. But what you're relying on in that scenario is for the Protoss player to make a mistake. And sometimes they do. As very quickly you can go from fighting back the Lurker army to having no storms and getting completely overrun. I think it was a show of respect as well. I mean, and self-preservation for Solar to pull back and play it out. And that brings us to game 2 and Showtime up 1-0. Stargate is the choice. Not particularly surprising. The more surprising thing was the 3 Oracle build. 2 Oracles a little more popular because of that energy recharge nowadays. But if you want to play it extra safe, I mean, if you're willing to use them and you're comfortable with it, you can't really go wrong with oracles. Right? Even if it slows down the rest of your build, whether it's the blink or charge, or those are the top two, but the oracles can always get something done. The only way it is a mistake is if you just lose them, which, well, that one's on you, so. Adept Shade. Taunting. Oracle complete, and hey, this is a message from the hatchery owners. You can't come in here. This is private property. Brenda, the Protoss. What are you expecting? You expect them to respect you? I just want it on the record. Okay, they might be the firstborn, which means they're the first dead. Brenda, I don't know if you understand the physiological implications of that. You notice how they warp in? That implies that their neurological processes are significantly different than us. Susan, I think your neurological processes are dumb. Okay, Brenda. All right. Sorry, I blacked out for oracles poking in. A grand total of 4 Zergling kills that ran by into the natural, but Showtime so far keeping track of things, and Solo trying to build up. It's on Showtime to keep the drone count down. It's on Solar to bring it up as high as he can. +1 melee attack is on the way, so going to be taking a different direction as opposed to rushing out the Hydras or maybe the Roaches. A more mass Zergling-oriented strategy. Another stasis attempted, catches a drone. Costs almost nothing to attempt. And, yeah, like the risk is minimal. The reward could be quite significant, as we already saw. Layers on the way. The Shady Bunch heading out. Those Adepts. Thinking about it. Showtime at 52 probes to 52 drones, so maintaining that even keel, even while putting on all the pressure. That's a Baneling nest out of Solar. So either anticipating a Glaved Adept or charge attack, or just interested in getting aggressive himself, but Oracles dart into the main. Couple more drone kills. And it is going to be charge out of Showtime. Mixing it up here. No +1. I'm not sure if this fight... He's going to kill the Adepts. I mean... that's my commentary. Like and subscribe. Robo. Templar Archives. Templar Archives. On the way. Charge +1. And a Hydralist den. Not on the same side, obviously. +1 melee is completed. Is it just straight up charge lot Archon timing? How many gates? 8 gateways lining up. No, Storm is on the way. I wasn't sure if he was going to get super aggressive right off the bat or leave the options open. And honestly, now that I say it out loud, probably should have known what direction it was going to take. Revelation slept on. That's a lot more gates on the way. I think we're looking at a 10-12 gate timing. Hydra Ling Bane for Solar to respond to it. It's going to come down to the Storm. Solar is going to have 4 bases of production. He's going to have Hydras with range. Banelings with speed. At least momentarily. But Showtime is coming across the map already. The Queens spot the Prism. And we'll drive it back for now, giving away... Just seeing a Warp Prism this early already kind of gives away the fact he wants to attack. Usually with a Blink Stalker timing, you don't even have a robo. You just warp him in back at home and trundle across. Maybe blink once or twice in order to feel fancy as a treat. But... Oracle... Yep, that's what it is. What a revelation. I know the names of all the units. Okay. It's important. I'm sure I have a follow-up that's more clever to that. And Jimmy will edit that in post. We can afford post. That's why I don't pay you. I don't... That is a lot of storm. A whole hurricane season is ready for Showtime, but Solar is going to try to break the base. The storms across the entirety of the line. The Banelings preemptively evaporated before getting anywhere close to connecting with anything important. He can merge some Archons in behind. Storms on the Hydras. Just apocalyptic. And meanwhile, Showtime gets some... Well, the Queens will shut down the Zealots in the main, but the Hydras will be eviscerated by the charge lots. The Queens deal with the counterattack in the main base, but does Solar have anything? Solar is down 15 supply against Charge Lot, Immortal, Archon, Templar. If Solar was up 15 supply, it would be a dire situation. Being down 15 supply is a GG situation. Showtime takes the clean sweep 2-0. And that brings us to our bonus game. A decisive victory for Showtime. It's going to be Solar yet again, though. But how does he fare against another Protoss you may have heard of? Max Packs. Just a highlight game, but Showtime showing... Every single time. Oh, sweet Tassadar. Showtime demonstrating. There you go. A robust Protoss that we kind of rarely see. Usually Protoss lean into the aggression or just turtle up, but that full-bodied okay, now it's just weird. That full-bodied, hard, yet firm, yet malleable Protoss with the flexibility you wouldn't expect, but the rigidity that you're looking for. So that's what I'm trying to say about Showtime. If he has time to show. Solar looking a little desperate. The Hydraling Bane time, that's exactly what he avoided in Game 1. And kind of fell prey to in Game 2. When you go for Banelings, even if you get damage done, well, they're only able to attack once. And when they just get washed away in a wave of storms like that, it's not like pulling back with the Lurkers. There is no more potential. The Banelings are gone. You invested such a huge percentage of your potential economy in a failed attack. It's not like he GG'd early. Obviously, Showtime had won the game. I'm just kind of recounting it. Now, Max Packs, definitely, well, I say definitely a different style of Protoss, but is that true? I feel like Showtime was playing Max Packs' style, and he was doing it almost identically, if not arguably better in some ways. But that very measured Protoss with aggressive Blink Stalkers or early Twilight Council after pinpoint Oracle Harass. Infuriating to deal with a Zerg, but incredibly effective for the Protoss. A lot harder than it looks, too. Those Oracles just come slipping and sliding in, but for every game we see Max Packs or Showtime get those kills with the Oracles or get a stasis, there's another game that the Queens just take them out or they go a little too far. They only kill one drone, and the Zerg runs away with it. The margins are so thin at this stage of StarCraft, too. Sometimes it's almost impossible to tell. Stargate. Nearly completed. We're going to do some compare and contrast here. I'm not actually sure if this match was played before or after the previous one. I believe before. But, we'll determine it. Whichever fits my narrative better, we'll choose by the end. Adept makes it into the main. Oracle nearly completed. Overlord gets taken down. Solar going to be supply blocked. Almost loses a drone. He does lose a drone. Just one for now, but the Adept gets away with murder. Oracle had that energy recharge slapped into it. Goes past the singularity. And diving right on the third base. Makes an Evo chamber in order to maximize the potential HP. Doesn't... Hey, it... Brenda! Well, that's certainly not ideal. Oracle just kills a queen, which it can do. It's just rarely do you see it just outright kill a queen. An inauspicious start for Solar. Twilight Council's already on the way for Max Packs behind no forge. And a little bit later on his gases at the natural, but I don't think that's much of a tell. We'll see momentarily. Oh, Adept Glaives. It was. Usually you get the gases at the natural around 4 minutes, a little bit before. Max Packs waiting a bit longer until he has his third base already established. And the fact he's not going for a forge usually indicates you want to do something very quickly with the Twilight. Either very quick, like Dark Shrine, or Adept Glaives, or ¿Por qué no los dos? Why not both? So, the 50 Shades with Glaives build has always been strong throughout Legacy of the Void. There's been multiple changes made to Adepts, but making Adepts just attack faster when they're already amazing at slaughtering drones does not give you a lot of margin for error. Zerglings get shredded. Queens aren't much of a match either. Did he go for burrow? No, I think it was an accidental burrow. Recharges the Oracle, smoothly sliding by to drive back the Zerglings. And MaxPax is still building probes. It's not like this is some big Adept all-in. This is a artisanal Adept Pressure. Somewhat different. Resonating Glaives completed. Hydra's Den still pretty far out. It's going to be a few dozen Zerglings against a dozen Adepts with the Oracles overhead. The Queens disputing the notion for now. And the Oracle gets taken. Get off my Queen! Losing the Oracle and the Zerglings boxing in the Adepts so the Queens can take him out. Wait a second. And is Solar just holding this with Queens and Zerglings? A single... And seven probes died. Yeah. My eyes kind of glazed over and assumed those were drones. But no, probes! They look distinctly different. You can look very closely and see the differences. So MaxPax plummeting to a 6-worker lead. He certainly wasn't stingy with the workers behind, but the Adept all-in a objective failure. Or artisanal prep. Whatever it was, objective failure. It did not get remotely close to the damage that he would have wanted or the trades he would have wanted. And while he now has his third base online, he's been forced to warp in even more rounds of Adepts. Blinking +1 on the way. But this was quite a roadblock to MaxPax getting a more more late game oriented Protoss army. So now he's got a second Robo and a Robo Bay on the way, but Solar will have a strong Hydra timing to work with. And yes, the Adepts are still going to be pretty strong, but that is a critical mass of Hydras, and very well could be deadly. A sentry, force field on the ramp. Hydra splitting. And the Adepts doing great against everything here. But the number's not quite there. Some of the Zerglings trickling through. Trying to get in. The Cyber Core goes down. That means no more Adepts, no more sentries, at least for the moment. There's still enough on the ground for now. He just finished blinking +1, but he can't warp in on any Stalkers plus. That +1 weapons being done, definitely helping out here as well. Some slow zealots warped in and will trundle forward into the Hydras and Solar. He's killed 18 probes, but he's running out of steam here. And more importantly, Hydras. The Blink Stalkers will look to counter. There's a Colossus on the way, and now we're in an awkward spot where Solar did a lot of damage, but it's mostly superficial. The Cybercore will be rebuilt. The Adepts were not something that Max Packs necessarily wanted anyways. A Colossus is out, though in a precarious position. The Zerglings on top of the Zerglings looking to nibble at the ankles of the Colossus, but the shield battery is more than enough to keep them at bay. The Hydras, though, working their way through into the third base. Another Cybercore could be targeted, but they're definitely more valuable options. Zerglings in the main. 5 probes dead so far. Trying to chase down the Colossus, which tiptoes it. Come on back to the shield battery, Timmy. I don't... Have a sip. Max Packs losing a lot of probes across the board. Solar has built no drones behind this. He's effectively all in on the Hydra leg. Much like against Showtime, but to much greater success. Cybercore number 2 is taken down. The Nexus is under attack by the Hydra Spines. Will he actually commit to it? And the shield battery has maybe a couple... No, doesn't bother. Adept Glaives. Adepts with Glaives warped in to deal with this. It's just Hydras, so they're going to have a pretty good time of it. Yeah, that target's down Adept, but the Hydras are incinerated. Roaches being mixed in to mitigate that Colossus damage. So far, Max Packs, though, is on the back foot by far. He might be able to spring forward with the charge lots, but he's on the clock against the Roach Hydra composition. 2, 3 Colossi. Does he have extended thermal lance? No, which means he has to get uncomfortably close to the Zerg. And then that's pretty much their entire job. That's why they have speed upgrades for literally everything. The force field, significantly late on the draw. Max Packs not even bothering to try to retake his third. The Zerglings making it kind of a moot point here. Templar Archives on the way. Now, Solar only has 51 drones. He might have 4 bases, but 51 drones is not a booming economy. It is better than 40 probes on 2 bases. Yes, obviously. But it's very difficult. Like, he can't just go to Hive here. He really doesn't want Max Packs to be able to get a more complex unit composition either. What? Brando, how did you get out there? The Christopher Columbus of Queens. Well, 13 drones on the way is Solar acknowledging that 3, 4 Colossi on the top of a ramp are maybe a bit much. And while Max Packs may have underestimated his power, the high ground is quite an advantage. Adept Glaives in the Prism. A bit late, but enough to keep him at bay. But the Roach Hydra, 173 to 120. And this is the scenario to get Hive for Vipers. Lurkers would be great, but Vipers should do the job just fine. The army supply. There's a single disruptor, which is an existential threat to the Roaches and Hydras. Though not quite enough to kill the Roaches nowadays. He might be able to take down those rocks. There's enough energy for some force fields as well. Guardian Shield bomb. There's still a Warp Prism at large. Hive is halfway done. Clearing out what creep he can. corrosive biles go up and actually hits the Colossi. MaxPack's having a tough go of it. Taking any damage on the Colossi is almost unforgivable at this point. He desperately needs them to be as intact as possible to fight this army. Solar is maxed out with nowhere to go but that northern base, where MaxPax is trying to retake his third for the first time in several minutes. 61 to 42 workers, 136 to 95 army supply. Disruptor shot clips a roach. He's got another Ruptor to work with. There's a bunch of Archons as well. Disruptor shot! That one's gonna hit hard. The roaches and Hydras eat it. So we're bleeding out a lot of units, well, being cauterized as well. 2 Vipers on the way. Lurker range as well. The late game options coming together. The Archons, though, working their way forward. Warp Prism with everything. 5 Lurkers on the way. Despite it all, MaxPax has built a very dangerous army. And this could go sideways for Solar. This is a game where he has almost every advantage. He just needs to break this army one time. But it is a difficult army to break. Some of the roaches getting caught, denying the third base, but that's a 20-30 of his supply on the other side of the map. And that means the army supplies are about... There's only 1 observer. 2 lurkers. Or not 2 lurkers, 2 disruptors. Oh no. The Vipers have arrived. Not that they were needed, as the disruptor just kind of mind-tricked itself into dying to lurkers. Adept's got 8 drone kills. Solar's still working on a minimalist budget, but MaxPax doesn't really have a budget at all. Solar ended up losing his third. Kind of an awkward scenario, but he does have a 5th base, so technically 2 mining bases still. Though a Zealot gonna come in, make things a little more difficult. Gonna slice up a few drones as well. MaxPax doing what he can. He actually cuts off a bunch of the roaches on the way back home. But the Vipers, as well as the Warp Prism. Solar is still maxed out. He's only now starting to bank some money. The Vipers are so important. MaxPax may be trying to save his Colossi from Abduct with the Warp Prism, which is like yanking a bullet out of thin air. Or just feedback on the Vipers works. Disruptor shot chunks up some of the lurkers. A follow-up shot might be able to finish him off. Saves one of the Colossi. Trying to wrap around the lurker concave. Oh no! Eviscerating the army. Slices it into tiny little Protoss pieces. And now all that's left are 2 Gs. Solar, able to do what he couldn't against Showtime. Lay down the killing blow in a decisive victory. I think showing a bit of contrast there with the ability to get damage early. And MaxPax simply not putting up the same level of defense. Bit of an odd Adept Glaives build, but it's one of those you kind of just mix in there. You roll a d6 before each series in order to figure out whether you're going to have an Adept Glaives build. And if it lands on a number 1 through 6, the answer is yes. That's how it feels sometimes. But thank you for watching. I hope it made your day just a little bit better. And if you got the means of motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing. It's still free, at least for now. But thank you to our Mule Tier members, including our new one, for bringing in so many minerals. Big Jiggy Dorke, Mario, random guy in chat. Could be you. And Suit. Thank you. Glad you still enjoy. And thank you for watching. Make sure autoplay is on the right video, and otherwise, I hope I made your day a little bit better. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.